It is so cool to see the butterfly house this late in the season with so many caterpillars. Hi, I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings, and right now I just took a moment to step out in the butterfly house to see what is currently going on. So there's a lot of activity with caterpillars. So we'll see, a lot of them are really big. So they're almost to the point where they're going to be heading off to do their chrysalis. Usually about 10 days later or so, then they will emerge. Thank goodness it's been a pretty warm fall, so hopefully the weather will stay warm enough that once these caterpillars turn to butterflies, we'll be able to release them out into the wild and let them head on down south where they'll be much happier in a much warmer home. So let's go ahead and take a look at how the butterfly house has done this fall. And there's a lot of plants that have done really fantastic, and you're going to also see a lot of caterpillars, a few butterflies that are still remaining. But yeah, this year has been a really good year in the butterfly house. I think we've done 6 cycles or 6 releases at this point, and we have released well over 3,000 butterflies this year. So we are so excited to be able to help with the monarch butterfly population and increase, doing our little part here to get those numbers increased and to get those butterflies out into nature. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. It's been so fun to watch the transformation of all of the plants in the butterfly house from the beginning of April till now, which is about mid-September, and just watching all the perennials cycling and watching all the annuals come into their own as well. So what we had to do this year is, with the milkweed we've brought in, we have a lot of it that's planted in the ground, but because the caterpillars will strip it so quickly, we quickly learned that we needed to plant some into containers like you're seeing here. So that way, when the caterpillars have all the foliage stripped off, we could take these containers back into the greenhouse where they could re-flush out. And usually they flushed out within a month, so which was nice because as the caterpillars were cycling and were in their chrysalis and butterfly stage, these pots were regrowing in the greenhouses without anybody eating on them. So that was a really good idea this year, was to plant up some 10-inch pots with milkweed. Let's take a look here. This one here you can see is totally defoliated at this point. So all of the caterpillars that are on it are going to have to make their way around and find the next plant that has some more leaves for them to eat. It's crazy how many caterpillars are on here right now. I know it's a little bit hard to focus in on them, but we're going to try to go down low here and show all the caterpillars. The nice thing when they're at various sizes is then they're going to also emerge from the chrysalis at different points. So we'll have an explosion of butterflies, but it will be hopefully over a week window of time. Look at there, some little guys hanging out with the big guys. We do have to be careful when we're walking though, because some of them are on the ground. So you definitely have to walk with gentle feet when you're in the butterfly house, when the caterpillars are so prolific as they are right now. So they are really having a heyday. So we will be bringing in some fresh new potted milkweed because these are nearly to the fully stripped point, and I would say by the end of the day any leaves that we're currently seeing on these pots will be gone. So the reason I came out here is I was going over pictures, kind of doing a year in review, and I had seen a picture of this aquapot. This is the giant chartreuse container you're seeing here in front of us. And I'm going to try to actually pop a picture up on the screen of what this container looked like when it was originally planted. That's the nice thing with container combinations, is they transform as the season goes on. Right now we're seeing a lot of the lime-time coleus, which isn't that vibrant, how that bright yellow chartreusey foliage just really pops amongst all the greens in here. That's why it's really important to use foliage color in your container combinations, because it just really creates a very vibrant look in the garden, even without it being in the form of flowers. The lantana has gone crazy. These were all started off as a 4-inch container, and look at them now. They are just a massive mat of color. I like to use lantana in here because this is a nice plant for the butterflies to enjoy the flowers on, and there's so many flowers for them to enjoy. We're gonna see if we can get this little butterfly. Oh, there he goes. There are a few of the butterflies in here right now, and we will start opening up vents so that they can escape at this point in the season. So we don't want them trapped in the butterfly house right now. We want to let them go. We want to let them out so they can make their way south when they are ready to do so. So even all these caterpillars right now that will be emerging probably, I don't know, in about 2 weeks or so, we're going to open up doors and shutters and just let them all fly south when they're ready. So here's a whole bunch of foliage from the milkweed. These are just brought in, and you can see there's a lot of potential food here for caterpillars. And the funny thing is they know how to find their way to their food source. So if they run out of food, they'll crawl their way to the next plant for them to devour. The pugster butterfly bushes, they've done really good this year. I love the pugster butterfly bushes because they are so fragrant. So many flowers and just so much fragrance. Now don't be scared by the size. This is because it's grown in this greenhouse. It's getting like water regularly. It's getting fertilizer too often, and it's in a very hot, humid climate. So it's growing and it's loving its best life. Typically pugster butterfly bush are only about 2 foot tall in the landscape, so don't let the size here scare you. I love using the lobularia as well because it's just a nice low growing ground cover and always adds just a vibrant splash of color. So this here was also and is also an aqua pot that is just buried right now with all of the beautiful annuals. We have the Supertunia Vista Jazzberry, which I love. And then you'll see some beautiful lantana. I believe that's the citron or lemonade lantana. And then we did the salvia. This is the Rockin' Deep Purple Salvia. I love this color combination with the purples and the yellow. It's just so vibrant. Making our way through, we do have a lot of verbena in here because butterflies will often hang out on verbena. So it is getting a little tired because it is end of season, but there's a lot of plants of the meteor showers of verbena in the greenhouse. Kufia vermillionaire, it's kind of done flowering, but this plant, I want to show you how big this plant is. This was one plant from a 4.5 inch container. It's over 3 foot tall and about 4 foot wide right now. That plant got huge here in the butterfly house. If you're looking for a heuchera, mahogany monster was going to be the #1 heuchera I can recommend. It has been blooming since April. Look at those beautiful little bell-shaped flowers and that really rich, deep, dark mahogany looking foliage. Definitely a go-to is the Primo Mahogany Monster. When we plant the butterfly house up, we like to plant plants that will bloom at various times of the year. So obviously we need some early bloomers for our earlier season butterflies, and then also some plants that will just continue to bloom until it gets really cold in here. That is why we like to use annuals, because the annuals do continually bloom throughout the season. Now, it's always fun to put a few perennials in as well, because that way you kind of get a different look and it kind of shakes things up a little bit. Here's another really big butterfly bush hanging out in the corner here. Nice big milkweed. Oh, there's a monarch. Probably was hanging out, getting ready to lay some eggs. Loving all of the beautiful flowers here on this particular milkweed. Oh, look at this giant caterpillar. You guys, that one is ready to go. It's not going to be hanging around as a caterpillar for much longer. I can guarantee it. Oof, this one too. Wow. These are some really big guys. Now, I mean, the caterpillars, the butterflies later in the season do tend to be just a little bit bigger. We notice that the butterflies that are our last round of butterflies are bigger too, and I think that's just to help them have more energy and just a bigger butterfly to make it the distance all the way down to Mexico. Here's another beautiful aquapot that was planted up this spring, and it is just absolutely huge. I'm going to go through pictures and see if I have a picture of this one too that I can do a before and after, just so you can see how much growth this particular aquapot put on. Making my way through. See the butterfly hanging out there. Lots of caterpillars. Wow. So fun to watch. And it's mesmerizing, you know, the circle of life that goes on here in the butterfly house. And I think that's one of the reasons why we do this is, number one, so we can educate people on, you know, raising monarchs and the importance of the monarch butterfly, but also too, just to, you know, none of this would be possible without, and I'm going to throw it out there, I'm going to be spiritual on you. None of this is possible without God. I mean, there's no other way to explain what happens with the life cycle of the caterpillars, the butterflies, the chrysalises, and the eggs. It's such a beautiful story that we can share here at the Butterfly House at Garden Crossings. We are located in Zeeland, Michigan, so if you are in the area or would like to stop out and check out our butterfly house, it is the end of season right now, so things are going to start wrapping up here shortly. But we usually start bringing in caterpillars around the beginning of May, and it just goes until September, October, depending on the season. So definitely something to check off your bucket list. Make this a bucket list item when you are in West Michigan area. If you have any questions or comments on the butterfly house, plants we use, anything like that, feel free to leave a comment below. Thanks for watching. I'm Heidi from Garden Crossings.